There's nothing quite like a fresh start, or at least the feeling of one. All it took was an overnight bus from Banawe in Northern Luzon down to Tagaytay, a few hundred kilometers at most, yet it felt like I'd arrived somewhere entirely different in the Philippines. A puff of warm air greeted me as I remounted my panniers and set off, looking for a way out of the city. This time, it didn't take long. I'd been in the country for a couple of weeks and had planned to spend a couple more on the bike. It had taken me a while to find my rhythm here, but by then, I'd warmed up to it. The food, the pace, the noise, the heat, the people. Actually, almost immediately, I noticed how locals greeted me with a kind of enthusiasm I hadn't always experienced up in the north. I was now passing through a less traveled part of the country, one that sees few foreigners, and I guess that's what made the difference.
A lady on the side of the road stopped me and asked me to come to try this. So I took one of each. I don't know what they are, but it's very nice of her. It's good. So I'm starting this second leg of the journey. Way further south, way hotter. It was quiet this morning, but now it's busy with traffic again. Anyway, people here seem to be very nice. Maybe they're less used to tourists because I didn't have the same impression in the mountains. Hello! Hello! The kids coming back from school.
No one had recommended this region to me, and there wasn't much about it online either. But I'd spotted a huge body of water on the map, just south of Manila, with what looked like an island in the middle. And it felt like somewhere I wanted to see for myself.
We're going to Anilao, Batangas.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, we're going down.
Yeah. I will go there tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Today's too far. Today to Lemery or Taal.
Lemery.
Okay.
Is this your first time here?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, everything is new.
Okay.
And you're staying in which area particularly?
He stops and go.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We stop and go with our
Improvise.
car.
Improvise.
Yeah.
Have a nice trip.
You too. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Taal Lake is unusual, an ancient crater now filled with water, with another volcano at its center. It may seem calm from a distance, but it's one of the most active volcanoes in the Philippines, where regular eruptions leave the soil rich and the water full of life. I was cycling by when a family flagged me down and invited me to try siomai from a food tricycle that had just pulled up.
Delicious.
I'd seen these small dumplings plenty of times before, but this was my first time trying them.
Where are you from?
Spain.
Spain?
Spain, yes.
Spain.
You're from Mindoro?
My province is Mindoro.
Ah, yeah? I will go with the boat from Batangas, Puerto Calera, and around.
They lived across the road and were finishing up with the day's tilapia harvest, sorting it for the local market. The lake is basically their livelihood, built entirely around aquaculture and cage farming. Out on the water, bamboo platforms float like scattered islands, holding anchored cages beneath them where young fish are raised. Families go out daily to throw feed, check conditions, and maintain the nets until the fish reach market size.
First tilapia from Philippines.
When it's time, everything moves quickly. Fish are sorted by size, packed into crates, and sent off to the nearby markets or roadside stalls. After a long break, it was time to say goodbye and keep on pedaling.
Very nice people down here, really, really different from the mountains. It's raining a little bit now. Gotta keep on cycling to Lemery.
From
Spain.
your name?
Belen.
Belen.
It's okay to film?
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. What's up, man? I don't know if Filipinas you. Yo, I hate you.
Good English, good English.
Hi.
Speak Tagalog? No, only salamat. Salamat.
Salamat.
Salamat. Thank you.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
When I travel, no matter where I am, I always feel like a guest in someone else's space. Being respectful of their ways, smiling back, or engaging in conversation if they start one feels like the bare minimum I can do. And I actually enjoy those moments. To me, traveling isn't just about going from one place to another. In some way, it also feels like a responsibility to try and integrate rather than just pass through as a spectator.
In Lemery. Lemery.
And that mindset led to one of the most special encounters of my trip.
Or I can put it like this. Look. If I put it like this, we're both in the video. You see?
Hi.
Hi. Sofia, Belen.
Ba't di mo na kinausap mo yung tinawag mo doon? Di mo na kinausap. Okay na tayo na.
You live here? Yes? So we're just chilling together. How old are you? You? 4? 5? 6?
Yes.
6? Wow.
Ikaw, napasok ka ba? Hindi na. Malaki ka na. Malaki ka na ba? Pag hindi na napasok, malaki ka na. Pag sabi, hindi ka na napasok.
I don't know what you're saying. I'm from Spain?
I had sat down by the water to make a call when this small but surprisingly fierce girl approached me and started talking in Tagalog. I couldn't understand her, but she wouldn't stop trying, and neither did I. So we ended up sharing my lunch.
Balas na naman Pia. Ang ganda naman Pia.
Kuya, ano ba kita dyan? Kinakausap ko lang itong Amerikano. Ano ka ba?
Ibay pa na ako na.
Ibay daw eh. Nakausap ko lang ito eh. Niloloko mo na naman ako. Lagi kasi ako niloloko yun eh.
Your friends?
Yes. Nagagalit kasi lagi ako niloloko niya. Nag-away kami minsan. Kunyari lang kami nag-away.
Not long after, we said goodbye, and I continued to Taal, known as the heritage town of the Philippines. There are many preserved Spanish colonial-era houses in this town, dating back to the 19th century, when Taal was a regional economic hub driven by trade, agriculture, and craftsmanship. These homes were typically owned by wealthy Filipino families known as the Principalia, and their architecture reflects a blend of Filipino, Spanish, and Chinese influences. After losing its economic importance in the 20th century, interest in Taal faded. Wealth moved elsewhere, and the old houses remained, surviving through World War II as well.
Crazy for mom. Are you okay with dogs?
I love dogs.
Okay. So they're babies.
They're babies?
Nowadays, there is a strong sense of local pride in preserving these ancestral homes, like Casa Conchita, where I spent the night. Now a small guest house and private museum run by a lovely lady called Ima. In the morning, she made me a traditional breakfast: fried rice, egg, and tapang Taal, a local marinated pork dish paired with coffee from Batangas.
Thank you.
I'd usually never eat something this filling so early before a ride, but the heat builds up quickly and I lose my appetite. So having a proper breakfast makes a lot of sense, and the food here is really good. Before heading out towards the Kalumpang Peninsula, I took a short walk through the town. Whenever I stop somewhere, I like to wander a bit, just to get a sense of the place and how daily life unfolds. I've always found people watching fascinating, just observing with curiosity as I pass by. But in Taal, the architecture is what really caught my attention. Many of the houses have a stone ground floor with wooden living spaces above. Instead of glass, the windows are often made from shells, letting in a soft, diffused light. Inside, the rooms feel cool, with a gentle breeze flowing through. I really enjoyed taking my time here, something I rarely do on the bike since I'm usually on a tight schedule to reach the next spot, or too tired to do much else than rest my legs.
It's very confusing today because it's sunny, then it's raining, then it's sunny again, then it's raining again. So I don't know what to expect anymore, but I think I prefer rain because it's much cooler. Nice church. I'm supposed to go to a beach spot tonight and hopefully camp, but it's not very beachy weather. So let's see what I find. Another church.
It didn't take long before I finally caught my first glimpse of the ocean.
Supporto na to. Pleasure.
Bell.
Bell.
Nice to meet you too.
Nice.
Well,
Bye-bye. Some local cyclists. They're always wondering why I'm alone. They find it very strange.
The water was much calmer than I'd expected, probably because of the low tide. But swimming would have to wait as I still had a couple of climbs ahead, something that surprisingly turned out to be one of the most enjoyable parts of this leg. I just pushed up slowly, listening to the sounds of the jungle. I couldn't have imagined that one of the things I'd miss most while riding in the Philippines would be silence, or at least the chance to just hear nature around me. Moments like that were rare throughout the trip, even far from any town, so I really enjoyed those quiet kilometers. For the first time, I could hear the soft trickle of rain, leaves moving gently in the wind, and the strange, unfamiliar call of birds I'd never heard before. In the foreground, I could already spot the town I'd be stopping in for the night, right by the water along the shores of Anilao.
So I'm at a little accommodation that allows camping. I spoke with the owner some days ago. And I'm gonna be setting up my tent tonight for the first time in the Philippines. It's also the first time that I see the water. So I'm very excited to go for a swim. It's been so hot today. And yeah, I actually look forward to camping because it's been almost impossible for the whole trip. The Philippines is so lush and it's just up or down, very difficult to camp.
Between the steep terrain, the constant jungle, the humidity, and the densely populated sections, camping just wasn't an option. And though I expected all of this when packing for the trip, I still held on to the hope that once I reached the coastline, opportunities would come more easily. And they sort of did. Beyond the noise issue, this was probably the second thing I missed most during my first weeks in the Philippines. But that day, I managed to tick off 2 wishes at once: camping and going for a swim. I was excited to finally explore what was beneath the surface. I've always felt drawn to water. When I'm in it, I somehow feel in my element. Like I could float around for hours just looking for interesting things. And there was definitely a lot of that in this bay.
A turtle! Wow! Wow!
I felt so lucky. I had zero expectations of what I'd see, especially on a cloudy day. But sometimes that's exactly when you end up being most surprised. My hostess later mentioned that hawks-billed sea turtles are often seen in the area, though spotting one that close to shore is still something special. The vibe at camp was so relaxed and I was the only guest for the night, so I spent some time playing with the puppies. As dusk fell, I started getting ready for bed. I don't think my sleep setup had ever looked this glamorous before. I headed to my tent, zipped myself in, and lay there listening to the waves roll in. Little did I know that it would turn into the roughest night of the whole trip.
I'm not on a high today because of two things. First of all, yesterday I think I might killed my action camera. I didn't close up port, so there's some salty water in it and it's now drying. Too bad, but it was worth for the turtle. And the other bad news is that I was planning to do a big climb today, sleep at the top of a mountain, but there's such a strong wind and very, very strong gusts that I think it's a bad idea. So I'm very sad to let that go. But the weather is the weather, and even if you have a plan on the bicycle, you just have to keep on adapting to what's going on. So I have no idea what I'm gonna do today. I'm just gonna keep riding and see where I end, I guess. Yeah, it happens sometimes, but well.
What I thought would be a glamorous night of camping turned into a bit of a nightmare. The puppies, including the huge one, kept me up for most of the night trying to get into the tent and chewing through the guidelines. By morning, I felt pretty defeated, between the lack of sleep and a string of small setbacks. So when I saw a jeepney stopped in one of the towns, I decided to hop in and head straight to the main city of Batangas. From there, I'd figure out a new plan. Since I couldn't find any decent last-minute accommodation in Batangas, I decided to move on to the next island. At the port entrance, a wave of scammers kept hovering around me, and once inside, I was asked to remove the wheels from my bike before going in, which was a first.
Do you have 100?
I have points, okay. They made me remove absolutely every single item on my bicycle apart of the wheel. No bags allowed. I had to empty every single bag. So I don't know why, but it's super ridiculous. I'm so dumb.
Taking everything off the bike and opening it up felt so unnecessary and stressful. By that point, everything had been piling up and I felt like I couldn't handle any more complications. By the time I finally got on board to the next ferry to Mindoro Island, I hadn't eaten. I was exhausted and sweaty and all I could think about was a shower and a bed. So I paid the classic tourist fee, cycled to the nearest homestay and checked in for the night. At least the action camera was turning on again.
I think it survived. Yay!
Good morning from the island of Mindoro. I didn't think I was gonna be here today, but yesterday was one of those days where things just start piling up and nothing really goes as planned. But yeah, I managed to change islands. I am currently in Puerto Galera, and after some good food, good sleep, a shower, I am feeling way more positive and I actually look forward to start pedaling around. There's supposed to be nice beaches and, well, I guess I just gained an extra day in the island.
Though hard days can leave me pretty drained, I tried not to let them shape the rest of my trip or my mood. I came to Mindoro looking for a change of scenery and to finally experience a more tropical beach side of the Philippines. So, without much of a plan, I started cycling clockwise around the island, turning off whenever a small path caught my eye, hoping it might lead to a quiet place for a swim. But it turned out to be harder than I expected. Many spots look promising on satellite, yet in reality they're either only accessible by boat or cut off by private land. And even when I did reach the shore, the beaches were often lined with fishing boats, a reminder of how much life here revolves around the sea. Still, I enjoyed looking around, watching locals working on their boats and kids playing in the sand. In a country where so many places have adapted to tourism, it felt like a relief to find somewhere that hadn't. What started as a simple beach hunt became more of a challenging search. But I kept going, hoping I'd come across a quiet spot I could reach by bike. It took a while, but after one more turn and one more gate, I finally found it. A white sand beach, all to myself. After all, it felt like that postcard perfect paradise did exist. The heat started to feel more intense, and riding through the middle of the day became a real struggle, which is why I tried to stick to the shoreline as much as I could. I was going through my water quickly, sweating it out almost immediately. And whenever I could, I'd pull out into the shade to cool down, rehydrate and eat something. But that's just part of riding here, especially when, like me, you're not great with the heat. The Philippines consists of over 7,600 islands, of which only around 2,000 are inhabited, and Mindoro is one of them. Outside of Puerto Galera, island life feels very local, and I didn't see another foreigner for days. The roads were paved and relatively quiet, and to my surprise, it was still quite mountainous. Getting there with my bike was already a bit of a hustle. Between port terminal luggage inspections, figuring out ferry schedules and destinations, not so cheap transfer prices and hidden fees everywhere. Even though English is widely spoken, island hopping isn't that intuitive. That's probably why, logistically, the Philippines can be a complicated and expensive country to explore by bike. You'd likely need months just to get through some of the main islands, which made me realize the handful of weeks I had planned here wouldn't get me very far. But hey, I was enjoying every kilometer so far, trying to stay present with the time and opportunities I did have. Doggy!
Sugar is generally running a little bit low. I think the heat also has to do a lot with it.
As a type 1 diabetic, I do need to keep a close eye on my sugar levels when I travel. Even though I spend hours on the bike and the physical effort can be quite high, I'm also snacking regularly, so my glucose tends to stay relatively stable. I don't often speak about this publicly as everyone's experience is different, but personally, I'm glad this condition has never stopped me from doing anything, and I hope it stays that way. The further I pedaled, the quieter and more remote the area felt. The roads narrowed, the towns became more spread out,
Tubako.
and almost everyone I passed greeted me with a smile.
I can talk Tagalog.
Me no.
May kasi may farm ako dyan, may farm.
Arm.
Kung wala ka matuluyan, pwede ako dyan.
That way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm retired police officer.
Okay.
I'm Jake.
Jake. Hi. Belen.
Belen. Okay.
Belen, yes.
Belen, you're so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Riding through the vivid rice fields, it felt a lot like being back in Vietnam. That was my first ever solo bikepacking trip, and the confidence I gained there, as well as the overall experience, were the catalyst for me choosing to return to this part of the world. Southeast Asia has always felt safe to me as a solo female traveler, and everything I experienced there only reinforced that feeling. Of course, I still stay cautious and have developed a strong instinct for who I can and can't trust. But in general, all my encounters were kind, respectful, and welcoming.
Taste your food, enjoy your meal.
I stopped for another sisig, by then my favorite local meal, as I got closer to the city of Calapan, in the northeast of Mindoro. Eating out had become a habit by then. It was affordable and far more nourishing than any supermarket snacks I could have picked up along the way. That day, I'd spent a lot of time in my head, reflecting on my experiences in the Philippines so far, with the murmur of a new idea that had been slowly growing throughout the trip. I did some research on where I could stay for the night, and found a host in the nearby city who was new to the platform. In her profile, she'd included a detail that immediately caught my attention. Fun fact, I want to be a vlogger. The place looked nice, and I thought it might be interesting to stay with her and talk about making videos.
Thank you.
She turned out to be an amazing single mother of 2 girls and a lawyer, dreaming of traveling full-time one day. She enjoyed hosting, and I was one of her first guests. From the moment I arrived, she treated me like part of the family. They were celebrating the anniversary of her new home, so she'd prepared special food for the occasion, and I was invited to be part of it.
Should have prepared a better, setup.
No.
I like this one.
It's a family setup.
When I'm on my own, away from home for so long, it's moments like these that feel the most nourishing. I'm always endlessly grateful to all the strangers who take me in and treat me as one of their own.
It's good that your family allows you to do this.
They cannot stop me. Yeah.
Your life, your rules.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
We shared stories, we laughed, we blessed the house, and eventually I headed off to my room for the night. That murmur in my head had now grown into something much clearer.
I have a new plan.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Come back again.
Thank you.
I woke up that day with a mission. I decided to cut my month-long bikepacking trip short by a week, leaving myself just 12 hours to turn my route around in Mindoro, catch a ferry to Batangas, and make it to Manila by bus in time for a last-minute flight.
Completely hassle-free today.
Thought, booked, done. A bit of a daring move considering how unpredictable transfers can be over here. But I took the risk and hoped luck would be on my side that day. So far, so good. Have you ever felt curious about something? A place, an activity that you just know you'd love if you try it, but for some reason or another you never quite get around to it? Well, it suddenly just clicked for me. I realized I was in the perfect place to finally give that thing, something that had been on my mind for a long time, a try. It's not often that I have such a clear change of heart, but this time it felt very right. I swapped my panniers for a small backpack and kept things light for the week, knowing I'd be spending a lot of time in the water. Done. Tomorrow I'm going to the island of Siargao because I'm going to learn how to surf.
We will meet in the morning transaction. Once again, this is Captain Ganson with First Officer Jose, together with your cabin crew Stace and Angel. Thank you for choosing to fly with Seneca. Welcome aboard.
Welcome to Siargao. Ever since I arrived in the Philippines, I kept hearing about this island, about the surfing and the vibe. I couldn't leave the country knowing I was so close to the perfect place to finally give it a try. I would have loved to make it all the way here by bike, but that would have meant at least another month on the road. Time I didn't have. Arriving in General Luna and stepping into its busy, touristy streets felt like a kind of reverse cultural shock. The way locals and visitors blended was both striking and fascinating. I had to take a step back and realize this was another side of the Philippines I hadn't quite seen before, but a very real one. Tourism plays a crucial role in the local economy, and while it brings many positives, it also made me wonder at what cost? I booked a scooter and a private surf instructor for a few days, hoping to pick it up quickly if I trained every day, and maybe ride a few waves. I didn't really know what to expect, but I instantly felt in good hands.
Welcome to Siargao. We have 3 kind of waves. You need to go to the left side all the time.
So A-frame right, goofy left, regular both ways.
Very good.
So where is the beach?
Here. Okay, follow. Ready? Up. Nice one. Side to the side.
We're ready to go surfing.
It's already swimming.
Both my guides, Yoon and Ken, had a genuinely positive attitude, and they brought that special energy with them every day to work, which was definitely contagious.
Let's go.
Let's go. I felt like having fun, improvising, trying new things, and pushing myself harder to make it feel like real training, and to make sure I achieved my goal. We handed the camera to this very enthusiastic kid who quickly became my commentator and cheerleader.
Oh my god! No gasoline! Whoa! Yay! Yay! Yay!
I have no idea if anything got recorded. But hey, I got on the surf. Tomorrow we try again.
Ay, magpasawalak pa!
At an island. Nice. So, yeah.
How's her surf?
It's almost there.
Almost there.
Almost a surfer.
Yes. Okay.
The funny thing is, while high tide can get hectic in the water with many people trying to catch a wave, at low tide, the ocean pulls back and so do the crowds. There's all these beautiful corals on the beach, so I'm just enjoying walking by and looking at them. Absolutely no one at this beach. It's really lovely. As soon as the waves were gone, so were the people, and I found myself alone on some of the most beautiful beaches. That contrast stayed with me. I'd heard Siargao could be overrated and overcrowded, but most travelers only ever see one side of a place, the comfortable, polished version designed to be easy and predictable. To me, that's the least interesting part. I had never spent so much time in the water. If it wasn't in the ocean, it was because I'd been caught in a sudden storm. Rainy seasons here are no joke, but they come and go fast, and they didn't seem to stop my instructors. The next day, a group of us got picked up in a bangka, the traditional Filipino boat with bamboo outriggers for stability. We were going wave scouting to Corregidor Island, and of course got caught in another storm midway.
Okay.
Let the show begin. I loved spending so much time in the water.
Don't run, chicken. We're hungry.
Even our lunches were surf-themed, eating with our hands straight off the board on a deserted island. Once again, following my instinct and pushing myself into something new proved to be the right decision. And of course, I was really enjoying this new activity. My body felt wrecked after each session, but I kept going, getting a little better every day. And in the afternoons, I'd head out to explore a new part of the island.
Welcome to our vlog!
Hi, vlog!
Hello, my friend. Nagkasabot na nautin. Wow, this is a very nice place, you know?
People here seemed proud of their culture and their land, and see tourism as something that can support the local economy if done in a sustainable, thoughtful way.
I think it's good. Top 3 bestseller our shop, the OBGs.
And I agree. There are many ways to travel and support local businesses without changing what makes a place special. People rave about this country for the vibes and the picture-perfect beach lifestyle, but those weren't the reasons the Philippines felt special to me.
You are from here also?
Yeah, this is my house.
Many years?
15 years.
15 years, nice.
From a purely personal perspective, the Philippines didn't offer the most striking or varied landscape I've ever ridden through. At times, it felt repetitive, full of stark contrasts, even overwhelming. And yet, it stayed with me for one reason: the people. There's something about traveling by bike, or even on a scooter, moving slowly, being exposed, stopping often, that seems to dissolve the usual barriers. Filipinos approached me with openness, curiosity, and a genuine willingness to help. English made conversations flow easily, and over time, those human connections began to shape the way I experienced the country.
What city in Spain?
Valencia. It's close to Barcelona.
Valencia.
Like the football.
You know, many Spanish time visit
Yes.
Philippines
Yes.
in 16th century.
Yes.
The most valuable thing I bring home from this trip isn't something you can capture on camera. It's those conversations, the long open ones about our different ways of living, what happiness looks like, life aspirations, small fascinations, and distant dreams that unfortunately aren't equally within reach for every passport. I'm glad I followed my intuition all the way here. The Philippines turned out to be an unexpected, lovely surprise. I've only had a small taste of it, and there's still so much left to discover. So I hope to be back one day.